Welcome back to Fast Market on the TD Ameritrade Network. I'm Tom White, joined by my co-host Kevin Hinks. But let's bring in our next guest, and that's going to be Andy Swan, the co-founder of LikeFolio.com. Thanks for joining us, Andy.
Hey, good to be here.
All right. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. But we're talking retail, Andy. That is on the tip of everybody's tongue going into Black Friday, Cyber Monday today. I heard, there's a lot of reports out there that e-commerce sales weren't that great, but in-store sales were. What kind of data are you seeing post Black Friday here from LikeFolio?
Yeah, I think the consumer has definitely shifted their approach to holiday spending. We did see overall e-commerce mentions down 35% year over year, which is very significant. People really got used to shopping online. But and overall, the consumer is really spreading things out this year. It's not about Black Friday. It's not about Cyber Monday as much as we like it to be, because that's pretty fun to talk about, pretty fun to look at, and nice and concentrated data. But that's not how the consumer is operating this year. A lot of it driven by supply chain fears, and a lot of it driven by, just a shift away from seeking bargains at all times. We saw 5 companies, though, that from a silver lining perspective, if you want to look at it that way, did have a really good weekend. Kohl's coming off a really strong report recently. We see continued momentum out of them, and a lot of people mentioning buying apparel and purchases for the home. Speaking of Home Depot really looking nice, outperformed Lowe's in every category that we're looking at. Five Below had some surprising holiday deals. ULTA really was gift card centric, which is very interesting. It could be a great gift this holiday season. I think they'll benefit from that. And then kind of the shocker on here, GoPro up 46% on a quarter-over-quarter basis, as the GoPro Hero really got a lot of mentions and could be kind of a surprise gift this holiday season. And we're watching that one closely, because it's one that hasn't been on our radar really often in the past. So, overall, I think the consumers changed their behavior once again. They've really spread things out. But here's 5 winners from this Black Friday through Cyber Monday type of season. Maybe some people decided, hey, this is a weekend where we can get out to the stores again. Let's go ahead and do it just for old time's sake.
All right, Andy, 4 of these names that you have on your chart we cover extensively on Fast Market, with the exception of GoPro. And who knows, maybe GoPro will make a resurgence. But what are you seeing that is giving Kohl's such a big jump here in numbers, and Five Below too? And here's my second question. We're about to cover Five Below in the second half of this segment. And I like to keep things really simple, Andy. Is it just as simple as Five Below starting to become 10 Below? And it's not gonna hurt their foot traffic? And isn't it just like a Netflix raising their prices, and we'll see the overall effect as they go from Five Below to a big section that's 10 Below? It looks like October was a really good month for Five Below. What are you seeing? What's making this big jump in your numbers back to brick and mortar retail?
Well, Five Below is it's a cool shopping experience that isn't online. They've kind of figured out how to get that just curious consumer coming in the door. When we look at Five Below specifically, it's really about the holiday deals around electronics purchases and even collectibles. The note here says squishmallows. I don't know what those are, but apparently it's a real thing, and they're going crazy at Five Below. And so, this is a company that can get out on the edges a little bit, can bring people in the door and sell them something or a lot of things that they did not know that they needed or wanted before they walked in, which is not usually the experience that people have when shopping online. When shopping online, you tend to know what you want. You search, you read the reviews, and you click buy, and it's over. Five Below has that impulse buy factor going for it, where they can really push some stuff that they can sell at high margin to people that had no idea what they wanted when they walked in the door, which is very cool.
Yeah, and Andy, does like just looking at your data on a lot of these retailers, and you mentioned that you had GoPro on some of that data that, we're seeing a bump there. Is this maybe due to the fact that people can't find things that they want due to the supply chain issues that we're having where, I've got to get something for my 18-year-old kid, but, the Apple product that he wants is going to be sold out and he won't get it till after Christmas. So I'll get him a GoPro Hero. Or the fact that, you were seeing Macy's that had been beaten up for a couple years doing really well over the last year. And now Kohl's at the same thing where people actually have to go into these physical stores to find product that's actually on shelves and is available. Is that what your data is showing you?
Yeah, I think that's a huge factor in what's going on is, there's things that people want, and then there's things that stores actually have. And a lot of times the gap between the two can be very big. So I think that's part of the reason why we see, gift cards as the primary purchase at ULTA and some of these names as well, because, I don't know what they're going to have for this person to go get, 2 or 3 months from now, but hopefully it's something they like. It's kind of an easy out for the gift giver. One other big trend that we saw that we have to mention is the buy now, pay later type of activity. We're starting to see this really replace traditional credit card usage, where people are actually, using companies like Affirm, like Square owns Afterpay, to finance their purchases almost directly from the point of purchase rather than through a credit card. And so I think that's something that we're really starting to see uptick in a big way and consumers adopt, especially this holiday season.
Kev, did you have another question here for Andy real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Andy, when you look at these numbers, and is this going to be, are these numbers going to peak early, in your opinion? Is this going to be something, because these trends, it looks like a lot of the retail numbers are having a strong start to the holiday season, but are we headed for a big empty shelf thing here at the end of this season? And everyone is talking about shopping early. Is that really going to happen where there's nothing left at the end and you're buying GoPros? Is the reason we're buying GoPros really because there's nothing else to buy?
It could be. I mean, the GoPro Hero, I think people are really into that. But overall, I think you're on to something. I think that the fears of the supply chain crisis, it's been in the headlines for a long time. People have had experience with, trying to buy furniture or different things, having to wait 6 months, 9 months, 13 months. I think that there is a real urgency to get out, or there was to get out in November. The contrarian in me says, okay, well, if everybody went and shopped in November, then it could be actually a pretty dry demand in December, and there might be some great deals late in the season.
Yes.
For people who, because some of these companies may overstock, into the season or into December when consumers have already filled up the stockings. So I think that's a real factor as we go into this. I wouldn't put too much emphasis on what we saw in November in terms of thinking it will continue through December, because I do think the consumers really changed their behavior this year.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to change their behavior based on what they can get, what they might not be able to get. But we'll have to have you back, Andy, because I want to discuss that payment sector a little bit more, because PayPal is getting hammered again, and with consumer spending doing so well. It's not equating to anything on the payment side, because MasterCard, Visa, Square, PayPal, all underperforming severely the overall market after those great runs in 2020. But we'll have to have you back on that. Real quick, Andy, anything on Five Below ahead of their earnings on Wednesday that you guys like as far as your data goes?
Well, just everything that we see gives us confidence that the company will be able to come out with good numbers and a good outlook. I think that they have every reason to be optimistic about, reopening. They're somewhat vulnerable to shutdowns, but other than that, I think that the consumers are going into the stores, they're liking what they're seeing, and they haven't really seen much of a pushback on the price increases, which means higher margins. So I think they'll probably have a pretty good report.
All right, great stuff. As always, Andy, have a great day.
You too.
All right, that's Andy Swan, the co-founder of LikeFolio.com, giving us the breakdown on some of the retailers after Black Friday.